I matched this lassie recently, a date app, who's a doctor. So I arranged to go on a date with her, because it's been so hard to get a GP appointment, and I just thought... Easier to see one face-to-face that way, you know?
Marc Jennings, I was going to say here we are in your natural habitat, but it's an empty room, so I better not say that.
Well, it used to be back in the day, I was a lot more used to that.
Yeah. What's the smallest crowd you play to?
2 people.
2.
They used to do these afternoon shows at the Glasgow Comedy Festival, actually, and so I used to go around on my lunch break and work, and one time there was 2 people there, and they were actually really lovely, and then I done it again and it was free, and that was a nightmare.
The whole time I was at uni, I worked in a supermarket as well. It's quite difficult trying to balance working life with your studies. I was studying philosophy, I had to read all these like, esoteric texts, asking the big questions, you know, what is the nature of reality? Is there a God? Are we even here? And then I would need to go in and make sure I was doing a good job tidying the ready meals aisle. My manager would be coming around going, look at the state of that lasagna, and I'd be going, how do you know that lasagna even exists?
When did you realise that stand-up comedy was something that you really wanted to do?
I was at the same school, just a few years below Kevin Bridges, so when he blew up, it was... I never thought I could be like him, but it must have planted something in my brain to at least make it realise that it would be possible. And I thought to myself, well, I might not be like funny in the way Kev is, because he'd be that kind of guy, the funniest guy in the pub, whatever. I was always kind of like that guy's mate. I could chip in with a couple of lines, but I was confident in myself that I was smart and I could write, and if I applied myself, I thought this is something you could do. So for me, it was a combination of that, going to the comedy gigs, and then also going and seeing a lot of new people. You'd see the new act nights at the comedy clubs, and you'd go, do you know, I could do better than that, kind of thing. So I just tried it out, and I caught the bug, and then 10 years later, here we are.
What's the barometer for you of success so far? Was there something you thought, wow, this is really happening for me now?
I think, honestly, a lot of success I've had has been just putting clips online, and that's when it really took off a few years ago. I filmed some stuff and put it up, and then I was at the Fringe and I was doing a free show, and suddenly we were turning away people at the door every day because they'd all seen these clips that I'd put up on, at the time it was my Facebook. Wow. And then suddenly you're like, okay, I'm onto something here.
Your dating style changes as you get older. Like, you know, like, see, when I was in my early 20s, I was like a box-to-box midfielder. You know, I was like chasing after every ball, covering every blade of grass. Now in my early 30s, like, I'm more like a defensive mid. You know, like, I've lost a lot of pace and stamina. I need to sit back now. But I can read the game a lot better these days. I can see opportunities where no one else can. And at this point, I'm just looking for a club to end my career, basically.
You find yourself getting a bit lost in that though, because they say comparison's the thief of joy, right? So do you ever look and go, oh, Connor Burns has got 1,200 views of that? You know what I mean? I need to up my game tonight.
I think the key is to just focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
You can easily get caught up in chasing the algorithm and looking at your views and followers and all that, but I think that is the road to oblivion. So you need to avoid that as much as you can and just try and focus on what you're doing and what you're offering people.
It's a good name for the tour though, isn't it? The Road to Oblivion.
The Road to Oblivion.
Marc Jennings.
That's it, Marc Jennings, The Road to Oblivion, on to 2025 for the next year's show.
There will be some laughs in it, and it could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
There was some laughs. We've got both angles covered.
Got both angles covered.
We've covered ourselves in case we really run the well dry with the humour. Well, we're no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh.
I sense it's a really special time, Marc. You know, we're going to talk about tickets for sale, but they've all gone, haven't they, for the comedy festival?
Well, actually, I do have some tickets still on sale for Some Laugh Live podcast show that I'm doing. Me and my mate Stephen Buchanan and Stuart McPherson, who are both great comics, do this podcast. And I've had loads of brilliant guests on. I've had obviously like Greg Hemphill for Still Game, and, you know, I had Fred McCauley and Fern Brady, Daniel Sloss, loads of, you know, great people from the comedy circuit, and we're lucky enough that people want to listen to and watch that happen.
Yeah. But at the same time, for you guys, you don't have to do as much preparation, as I'd imagine, as when you're performing stand-up.
Absolutely, it is more of a conversation, and you can't really fake that. I think you go in with a few things prepared and a few ideas in hand, but for me, it does seem like now is the time. Like, live podcasts are blowing up everywhere, and it feels like now, like, having a podcast, it's basically like the equivalent of being in a band. Like, I think back in the 80s or whatever, everybody probably grew up wanting to be in some band. Now everybody wants to have a podcast. We have all done our time doing stand-up. If anything, I think we thrive in a live environment doing the podcast there. So I think all the work that's went into it just helps it.
So my dad used to work for Singer sewing machines.
Yeah, it was in Clyde, but it was in Clyde Bank.
Yeah.
He used to go out to repair sewing machines
Yeah.
in people's houses. And the policy Singer was, see if your machine wasn't working, you'd take it back to the workshop and you'd charge them. Right, you'd just rip them. I was going to say stitch them up.
What about the future with it then? Are you all talking about tour bus? About how far can we take it? How big can it go?
Hydro.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, that's, we don't need a tour bus to go there. We all live in Glasgow.
I think you do.